All right. Welcome to another edition of the Stop Doing It All podcast playlist with your host from Boundaries and Brotherhood, Gordon Watt, and my co host, my partner from over the pond, Miss Sarah Pat. We were just talking about I wanted to get her to dance in public, but she has PTSD and trauma, so we're just going to leave that out. That's just for you guys to find out later on. If you see her live and you work with her and you get one of her courses, she might just do that for you. And that little bit of introvert might come out, right? But today's topic, guys, we're gonna take it straight out of her book, guys. If you've been seeing this on the oh, you're seeing this on the replay or watching the playlist or some of the clips, we're gonna be doing from chapter 8, but we're gonna do it something different. And today's topic is being your formula for success. And Sarah's going to explain what she did. In fact, we're going to do a recap. Where we recap the overwhelm, the outsourcing of products, sources, and services. We did the PRs, the redundancy, the relevancy, and all that good stuff. Today, we're going to see what is Sarah's formula for success in her business, how she helps clients. Sarah, take it away. And while I get this all set up and going for you again.
Okay. The thing for me is when people are struggling with overwhelm, the thing that gets them out of that overwhelm is having a solid plan. And sometimes you need a formula for success just as much as you need a plan for when things go wrong. So inside of the book, like you said, in chapter 8, I talk about the formula for success. And the formula is drive plus strategy plus organization times flexibility.
Oh, okay. Nice. Okay,
So
nice.
drive plus strategy plus organization times by flexibility. Okay. And the reason it is like that is because I see loads and loads of solo business owners, and we've got so much enthusiasm about what we're doing that we don't ever struggle with the reason why we're doing something. We just throw all our enthusiasm at it. But if we don't channel that enthusiasm into something productive that helps to move the needle forwards, then we just have untethered enthusiasm, which kind of makes us look a bit crazy.
That's why it's chaotic.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just the one thing after another. It's the firefighting. It's the new shiny object. It's the where do I
Right.
go? It's that whole
Right.
overwhelm from not having clear decisions. It's
Right.
just that paralysis by analysis, they call it, don't they? So there's so many options available. It's like, well, which do I do now? But when you channel that into a reason for doing what you're doing, and the reason for doing what you're doing is so strong that it overrides all of the problems and all of that other stuff, then that's what I call drive. So it's really the heart of your productivity is if you can get out of bed every morning knowing that you're doing something meaningful and that you're doing something that you love, then it becomes a lot easier to face the challenges and become more resilient. So that's kind of the drive element. And then when you layer on top of that a really clear strategy, then you can eliminate all the distractions. So
Yeah.
when
Okay.
you know that your focus, let's say, I don't know, you were trying to get to the Eiffel Tower in Paris, right? Paris, France. Just need to reiterate that for my American people because I know there's
I mean, we don't know the difference either.
Paris in Europe. But if you were just trying to get to the Eiffel Tower, but you didn't have a plan or a strategy of how you're going to get there, it might take you 7 years to get there.
Okay.
Else you know the best route to go. You'd make a load of mistakes along the way. And for some people, that's okay. But when you're trying to run a business, when you're trying to make money, the longer it takes you and the more mistakes you make, the more it costs you.
True. That's true. Very, 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 very true. Now, let me ask you this. As a solo entrepreneur looking to say use that formula that you just mentioned, the formula of success is the drive plus strategy plus organization plus flexibility, right? What are some of the pain points you see from the people that you've helped before? Because you could dress the formula up, you could do everything else. What if I'm a solo entrepreneur? What would be the breakdown? so that you could explain in layman's terms, anybody watching this, when watching this on the YouTube, on the playlist, on our channel, break that thing down in case for a situationship or a situation that you see that you could help. Because, like you said, I want to get to the Eiffel Tower. It'll take me 7 years. I could use the different strategy that you provide into something that can get me there easier. Explain that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the strategy is like having a map, right? And the organization is how you're going to get there. So what tools do you need? Is your
Okay.
car full of gas? Do you have a plane ticket? Do you have are you going on a ferry, like on a boat? Are you,
Mm,
all that kind of stuff, what things are you going to need along the way that's going to help you out? So when you have the organization around that, then again, it just helps you implement those things a lot quicker. There's a scene in a movie that I really love. It's called Wallace and Gromit, and it's called The Wrong Trousers, and it's a claymation animation film. And there's a scene in that film where Gromit, the dog, is on one of those model trains, the kiddies' railway sets where you're laying out the track and the train goes around the track. And he's on this speeding train and he's got a box of track and he's laying down the track as fast as he can to try and stop the thing from crashing.
the train, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it feels very much like that when you're a solo business owner and you don't really know where you're going and you don't know what you're doing. You just feel like you're just chucking this track on the ground as fast as you can so you don't hit anything.
Right.
And you can't carry on like that for very long.
No.
And so that's why the flexibility thing comes in. Because you're always going to have days where you really don't want to do something.
True. Very true. Very true. Sometimes it's every day.
Feel about it really doesn't matter. Like I learned this when I was training for a triathlon, right? I hate running. I really hate running. But at the end of the triathlon, you have to do the running.
Right. Right.
Oh, it's running day today. I don't want to do it. It's cold. It's wet. Oh, God. And so I would think to myself, okay, if I'm going to go out, then I need a route that's got various different options. Okay. So if I run to the end of the road, I can either go up the hill, I can go left, or I can go right. And depends on how good I feel by the time I get to the end of the road as to which option I take. And it's oftentimes what you find is once you start doing something, it's like, oh, well, I'm here now. I may as well just carry on.
Right.
Rather than, I don't really want to do it or I don't really, but having those options makes you feel like you can just stop at any time. It takes away that guilt of not doing it, or it stops you putting something off that you would really rather not do.
Okay. So now, with that all being said, right, we went over the Wreck-It Ralph character. We did everything that we said in the past shows. Go back and watch that if you have any questions about that. At the moment, Sam, and a solo entrepreneur, how do you break it down so that I can get the confidence, the sale? How does it implement into, say, my business? Or what's the direction? Am I going for confidence, having that emotional well-being? What do the tools that you teach, your workshop, your services provide so that I can get that emotional, impactful win now?
Yeah. So most people would just go straight for the strategy. You need to know what you want to achieve. You want to get there. You want the roadmap. You need the tools. You need this. You need this. But before all of that, you need to eliminate doubt.
Ooh, that's it.
Because
Nice.
some business owners, we're a totally separate breed. People who work for companies, you have a bad day, doesn't really matter because they're not your goals. It doesn't rest on your shoulders. You're not dealing with totally everything.
True. So true.
Right? But when it all rests on you and you're making every single decision and you're doing all the work and you can't afford to hire somebody else and we all have this. There's times in your business when cash flow is really small and your time is really tight. And for all of these things, they just come crushing down on you. And you have to choose. And if you have layers that are eliminating those doubts, the ways those doubts creep in, that's when a strategy for success really works. Because you don't have that, oh God, what am I doing now? What if I do this and I do it wrong? What if I do this? Why can't I choose it's like, I don't know. It's like I see it all the time with solo business owners, and they could write a book, or they could do a course, or they could do a workshop, or they could how they present their message. There's infinite possibilities of how,
Absolutely.
and it's like, if you don't know what you really want out of your business, and you don't know where you're trying to go, or how you're trying to earn your money, or what kind of money you need, and all those kinds of things, then you just go, oh well, I'll write a book, and then you've written your book and you don't do any promotion about it, because, well, you've checked that box and it's done now. So
Right.
then you on to the next thing. And you never track any numbers, so you don't know whether what you're doing is working. You're just like, oh, well, you've just got to race through that to-do list and get it done. And, oh, well, I've done it now. It doesn't really matter. I'll just move on to the next thing. But when you have all of that enthusiasm, all of that energy, and all of that motivation, and all of that love for what you're doing, channeled into a strategy with organization, there's no doubt, and there's just total flexibility of when you do something, or how you do it, or if this doesn't work, then do that. And, all of those things, that's when you really start to fly, because you're not questioning anything anymore. You're not questioning yourself. You're not questioning your
That's
capability,
huge. That part.
questioning how good you are compared to other people. You're just getting on with stuff.
Right, right, right. What are you seeing now? Even for myself, you hit some of the good points, because it's like, I'll give myself an example. I can write 7 books, write 3 workshops, do 3 workbooks, get it all done in all different topics. But until I sat down and really laid everything back out, and I finally stayed focused on certain things, created the strategy, using the tools I have, using some of your methodology and ideology that you have, that you taught me, it kind of goes in a direction, like you said, but the flexibility, the drive, the energy is some of the things that you need. The biggest thing is the self-doubt. This is what I tell everybody doing anything right now. If you have self-doubt, any self-doubt, all my friends, including myself, including Sarah, you might have bad days. You don't want to wake up, crap, I don't want to do this, all this. I got some things like Sarah she's moving today. We have boxes, she's juggling all this stuff. But her commitment to us and this show, so that you guys can get this content, is real, folks. Because once self-doubt creeps in, being unconfident, having anxiety, and you freeze. How many of your clients have just froze because they have so much overwhelmed? It gets easier. It's like working out. You pick up the 10-pound dumbbell. Next thing you picking up a bigger dumbbell. Now you're doing certain other things. You start tacking things in your plate that gets to the bigger picture, right? What is it? How is your clients, the ones that you're working with now, how do you help them overcome it? Give us some examples that resonate with you hard, because this is what people want to know. They want to know, like, okay, Sarah, Gordon, yeah, I hear all this good stuff. Show me how to do it.
Well, the first thing really is that we get very clear on who it is that you are, what it is that you love doing, who you are as a person, your personality, your likes, your dislikes, all of you that you want to share with the world. And we craft a message that you have been doing your whole life. You just don't know that it's a process. So we pull that out. And once we have that process, we could write a book. We could do a course. We could do, whatever the vehicle for the message that you're trying to put across is. It doesn't really matter. We just focus on that. And we focus on it so hard that we can break it down. Like, we're doing this interview now on chapter 8 in the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means there's 25 chapters in that book. That means I could do 25 interviews on different topics, but it's all still focused on the book. So, I've got one client, she's doing a wellness thing, and she's done a video training course that is 6 modules long. Okay, so inside of the modules, you've got different topics. Each of those topics can be broken down into subcategories. It's the same kind of process regardless of the niche that you're working in. And it kind of works it helps to give you back your life. And in that, I mean, like,
True.
be moving house, right?
Right.
I have just come from moving boxes, organizing people, trying to get work done. We're moving in on Saturday. and I have a guy coming to the house that we're living in now to change the consumer unit, the fuse box inside the electrics, so needs safety certificate. So that's happening on Saturday here. I've
Mhm.
also got the carpet guy coming to the new house to put the carpets down, and we're moving in on Saturday. Right, everything is coming to a crunch this week. I came to this interview from 2 minutes ago, focusing on all of that stuff. And the reason that I can focus so clearly now is because I'm just talking about one thing,
Right.
talking about this one product. And I can
Right.
talk about this one product in different ways forever. I
Beautiful.
clutter my brain with, oh, I need a new strategy, or I need to think of new content. No, you just break down what you already have. And because it's taking what you already have and breaking it down into small pieces, you don't have to think about what should I talk about?
Nope.
What's my topic this week? Write them down and stick a pin in one and go, right, I'll do that this week.
I mean,
know?
a lot of like that you said is so perfect because once you get focused, I mean, you figure that a lot of the times people want to go in all different directions. They want to get the shiny object syndrome. We're all guilty of it. This is how we learned about it, right? This is how we can talk about it. But at the same time, you also have to figure out there's certain things you have to do to still have your life because life goes on. Like you have so many things juggling, but you stress, but not overwhelm stress. You have anxiety, but it's not something that will just like make everything stop and say screw it all. You still have your life. You still have your clients. You still have what do you call that? Obligation, right?
Yeah. We just
Right?
went to see my step granddaughter's. It was her birthday on Tuesday.
Mhm.
We went to go and see her today just now. So that's in between juggling, moving house, and all of this other stuff. You have to.
That's a question. That's a perfect question for this next question, right?
Okay.
How does your course, the book, Stop Doing It All? In fact, go to the link, guys, get your assessment, see where you're at, right? Go to stopdoingitallbook.com, get your free assessment, see how Sarah and myself could actually fix something that you might be in a problem with. I'll give you some insights. Drop it in the comments. Put it on some. How does lifing and business with your strategy all mesh get better?
I think it makes it easier to separate them out and compartmentalize. And by,
Nice.
I mean, it's just easier. Put each one in a box, And I heard somebody say it the other day, and they said all really successful people are really great at compartmentalizing things.
They have to.
Right. Yeah. So you can go, right, this is life. I'll pull this box out and I'll do this for a bit. And then when that's done, or when I've achieved what I needed to for today, I'll put that back. I'll pick up another box and I'll focus on this one, and then because it's separate boxes in each part of your day, you get everything done.
Yep.
And you're very clear about, right, well, I only need to do that today with this box, and I need to do that tomorrow with that box. So,
Yep.
and if I find I've got extra time, then I can go, well, there's 2 jobs in there that'll only take 2 minutes, so I might just do those. And then it's your choice as to what you do next. And that's where the flexibility comes in.
Nice. Yep. Now, does your book help people to build that skill set to compartmentalize everything so that they can do it so it's so easily and naturally?
Yeah,
And
I think it does it because it simplifies everything. It's not a strategy that's like rigid and you have to do it this way and only do it this amount of time there. And it's your life. You're different. We're different.
absolutely,
And
that's what.
there's nobody that's going to come back to your life after you're gone and go, well, you should have done this and you should have done that. According to who?
According to is the thing, but that's what's so key because a lot of people, especially business owners, especially if you're starting out or you want to go into that life, into that go down that path, you're gonna have bumps and stops. You need guidance.
Yep.
You need things. You need if you look at all these like I mean I'm not saying knock your hustle. Keep going for it. You will have ups and downs. Don't look at the prize. The prize is the person you become in the process. to me. If, like I said, you could write, Sarah said, you could write the books, you could do the workbooks, you could do the interviews, do the stuff, have the direction, get your views out, get some eyeballs on the thing, get things going. But then when it comes to selling your product or your service, and you can't relay that message, or you can't help somebody out get out of their funk or whatever pain that they're in, good is it, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this now. In your book, break down the three, since we're on chapter 8, in fact, I want you to break down a flexibility strategy that you have and the problem first. Like, think of it this way. If you're in a situation blank, this is where the flexibility will come into effect. How's that sound?
Well, in fact, I think I'm understanding the question right. So if you hit a roadblock, so
Give me an example, a detailed example. Because the viewers might want to hear like, okay, this could be me. You have the answer, right? So I hate to cut you off there, but I want to get the nitty gritty from you too. So give me a real detailed situation that you've helped somebody recently.
Okay. So, yeah, okay. So recently I had a conversation with a friend, and she is trying to get her book launched, and she was stressing out about a whole load of things, and it was just, everything was overwhelming to her because she got time crunch. She's got a lot of other projects on the go. There's a conference in August that she needs to go and speak at, and they put a whole load of work on her. And in the process, she's trying to launch a book that she's been meaning to do for ages, but it's like, I'll make this decision, and then all these other stuff just piled in on top.
Right.
And so she was just like, how do I do this? And how do I do that? And how do I do that? And I'm like, whoa, stop. Okay. Because I think a lot of the time we naturally overcomplicate things.
Okay.
So rather than looking at the simple, like, what can I get done? Right? We go, what can I get done? How many bits has it got? How complicated can I make it? What is it going to look like when it's perfect? Right? And let's use the example of the online world, right? The business world, yeah. So let's say you were trying to launch a book online, and you were trying to make it a bestseller, and you're trying to, and she was like, oh, I need to create all these emails, and I need to speak to all these people. And I'm like, just don't worry about it. She's like, well, how can you say that? I'm like, one, I've done it lots of times. And people,
Okay.
one person.
True. Very true. Very true.
Talking about messaging everybody you know and telling them, hey, I've got a book out. Will you go buy it today? She's like, oh, I need to create, I need to get the genies or whatever to create all these messages. I'm like, no, stop.
Nah.
Pick one person that you need to message and write them a heartfelt message and just say, look, I've got this book out. I know you're probably not going to read it, but I could really use your help in making it a bestseller today. Will you do me a favor and buy it? And then you copy it and paste it for the next person, because you would have said exactly the same to that next person. And it's the same with the email. You craft it to one person in your head, and all of a sudden it sounds right to everybody, because that's what you'd say to everybody.
That's it.
Rather than thinking about this whole convoluted way of creating an email, or, all the AI tools that we have these days, that's just like, let's just go back to basics. What would you say to me?
But that's the cool part about having the system, even like you just mentioned with the AI products and everything else. You still have to have the knowledge. Even if you have to prompt engineer, you have to do all that stuff, because at the end of the day, you need 6 things. This is how the people that do Tony Robbins stuff, Dan Graciossi, Alex Hormozi stuff, they concentrate on these 6 things. I'm going to give you one of my systems as a bonus right now, right? You got to know the message that you're going to shape. What Sarah just said, heartfelt message. You also got to know the method. Like she said, in the method, it's the vehicle that you're going to use, right? It's all in her book, guys. It's in different terms. how much money you're going to charge? What are you going to do for a giveaway? What is going to be the actual price, cost, and what you're going to do to help? Because people like to pay if you're heartfelt, like you said. The movement. What is the movement you're going to do? Because that's the process that you're gonna do. Then the market, which is the audience, and the magnet. Like Sarah's book. This is just the beginning of something that's great. She has other things. She has services that touch on these subjects. And it hits to all the big gurus, but they just simplified everything. Right?
It's interesting you should say that because I did a masterclass the other day on delegation, which you can get free when you buy the book from stopdoingall.com. And in that training, at the end of the training, there was, for the live people that were there, we had like an exclusive Q&A afterwards that I didn't record that was just there for them. And this lady said to me, she said, you know, a lot of the things that you've said are things that I've heard before. I was like,
Right?
okay, fair enough. She said, but they just didn't sink in before.
Ooh, deep. That's
I was
deep.
like, that's cool.
Yeah, that's deep.
And that's really interesting to me because it depends on how you hear it, when you hear it, and who's presenting it to you. You and I could be talking
Very
about
true.
exactly the same thing.
Two
We could be
different.
talking about business. We could be talking about different strategies, but talking about the same thing, just in our own unique way. And there'll be some people who like to hear it from you, and there'll be some people who like to hear it from me.
Absolutely.
And it's just
Absolutely.
really interesting to me that this lady, I've heard loads of really popular business people say these things before, and she just preferred my way of saying it.
Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing wrong, right? Anything else? Because you might be in a different phase in life in your business. You might be in a different season. You might have learned a lot of different things you did from before, and you visit it 2 years later. It's like, this is what she's talking about. And it could be the tonality, it could be the calmness, it could be the angle you came through. And this is why, when me and Sarah kind of like teamed up, it was like, we're going to use Gordon's energy and then we're going to use Sarah's systematic approach.
Yes.
And it makes it better because she has the English accent and I have a pidgin English accent and barely speak English from Hawaii. So like it kind of matches because you're kind of like two opposites. But she's absolutely right because you might resonate something that one of our mentors might hit me now. I didn't get a few years ago. I'm like, but now it's internalized. It's internalized because
there's so much of that that's happened to me in my life. I was just like, oh, well, that's what they were talking about. Oh, why did I not see that before?
but I mean, like you said, it's like the process. Like I tell, even like for the self-help thing I do with all my other stuff, it's like the season in life that you might not be in, you might not be able to receive it because you haven't got it. And it's the same with business. This is what's so cool about Sarah's book because the topics that's in her book is just infused with business. It's a self-help book of business married with building your confidence in a simplistic way so that you can get the job done. Ooh, I can use that as a quote.
Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that because I do think that this is the element that's been missing out of all the information that people are hearing that, the business gurus say.
And of course.
Those business gurus are not wrong. They are gurus for a reason. They are very successful people. But there's also that group of community, that community of people who are listening to that, but can't put it into practice because they haven't built the confidence. Those doubt elements are just creeping in too much for them to hear it properly, to be able to do it properly, and that really is the foundation to me for everything. And if we don't have those things in place, then it doesn't matter who's telling you how to do things because you won't hear it.
So let me ask you this that's pertaining to the chapter of today, right? How does having drive and strategy make you tethered in your book words? I call it, okay, so it keeps you disciplined on that path that you're going through, right? How does that work for somebody that's not disciplined? and doesn't have a strategy, what happens?
I think it's not about discipline. It's about channeling your energy into the right events and the right things, and those things will be different for everybody. So
True. Very
you
true.
might be comfortable. We've got a mutual friend, Robert Kabaka. He's great at having multiple businesses on the go at once. That would drive me crazy because I need to focus on one thing at once and just can't do 20 things at the same time. He can.
Praise.
Our strategies, mine and his, would be totally.
True. True.
But that's not the point. It's not about making you do things in a certain way. It's about facilitating who you are and getting
You.
that's
That's about to say yes, because even for even for Sarah, like saying, if you don't know who you are, you don't know what your capability is. If you can't put things in application form, you got to do it systematically. This book is for you because it gives it the simplest terms so that you can understand it. And like Sarah said, you could have a business guru tell you these things a year ago, but you pick up this book now, stopdoingitall.com, book.com, and you figure out, how can I apply this to my life, my business, my hustle, and put it to good use so that you can understand where you want to be. This is part of the reverse engineering cheat code, right? Because you know the goal, you know where you started. This is one of those things that you grab, you pick up, you read, you check it out, you implement. It's not like you forget about the gurus. Like Alex Hormozi, he's got something going on next month that, you know what I mean? He just sent it all out. He's going to be right on his thing, but his audience is completely different from, say, Sarah's audience, right? But you could also take all the golden nuggets that's in the book and apply them to yourself. If you was to take any business strategy, reverse engineer it, recode it, reprompt it, use AI to use it, it'll come down to a few things. This book is one of those things that's going to be put in there because you still have to know it, regardless of what happens. Regardless of what happens, you still have to have the knowledge of yourself. Where do you want to be? That's what this book does. Oh, I think I got too much green because of the. That's why, because the book says, look, it says in the background, right? It says help. You need help in a direction of knowing yourself and doing all that stuff. Sarah, how does one, I'm going to lead this into the next chapter for the next week, right? Right?
Yeah.
How do you tell somebody that's super excited about the business, but you kind of hold them back because of the knowledge that you have?
Well, that's
You do tell
a
them.
lot.
Exactly. That's excuse you.
Yeah, I do end up reining people in quite a lot because
Right.
the clarity comes. As soon as that clarity comes, all the creativity oozes out.
Give
Right.
an example of that.
So when you stop thinking, that we spoke before about the analysis by paralysis, like
True.
paralysis, that kind of thing, right? You've got so many choices that you just don't know what to do. And the whole business, all of the busyness of the business is just pushing down on you. When you sort that out and you get rid of all of that, it gives you the space to start getting creative.
Okay.
And the lady that I was talking about with the wellness business, she has a product. It's a 6-module course, and she thought that was going to be her main thing, right? And when we started talking about the strategy of breaking it down into different modules so that she could talk about different things in content marketing and, all those kinds of things, she immediately started thinking about all these crazy ideas about one of the subjects is eating well, right? And I was like, okay, so we probably need to start a blog. Maybe you do once a week a recipe or something like that. And as soon as I said it, she was like, oh, I could this and a membership and blah,
Right.
blah, 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 and all about eating. And now it has become apparent that her passion lies in that element of her business. And because
I see.
that the strategy and we fixed all the rest of it, now she can lean really hard into that so that she doesn't have to stop being enthusiastic and she doesn't have to rein herself in anymore. we did at the beginning because she just felt all over the place. But once we settled all that down, it's like, off you go. You know, and it's
Ah,
like, you could just be you, like fully you,
yeah.
and do whatever it is you want to do because you know what the strategy is. And when your enthusiasm and your drive and your motivation and your whole reason for being ties back to the thing that you already have, you could go off in whatever direction you want.
But you
Because
still got to rein it
everything
back.
still ties back to that one thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So,
until you have that
yeah.
one fundamental thing, they go. It's like sending balloons out and they're just scattered and they go wherever they like. But when you tie a whole bunch of them together,
Good analogy. A beautiful analogy to end on that one because we could go on and on about this stuff. But see, this is what's so cool about because like that analogy is perfect. Even like for myself, I can go 180 miles an hour and get them all done. Then I'm going to pull it all back, tie it together, then release a product, release a service, or tell this is what I can do for you now. You might want the orange balloon now. Later on, we'll get you the red, purple, and blue once we get this thing done. And that's what Sarah does in this book. You're going to delegate the mastery. You're going to outsource what you can do, take it off a checklist. You're going to stop getting overwhelmed because you're going to narrow the thing down, design your business yourself so it correlates in the business together with your personality is what
and
the
that really
perfect
is
part
what
of it.
work is about. You know,
Yeah.
they stopped doing all workbooks. So this one, the green one,
There you go.
you get that free when you buy it from stopdoingallbook.com, because people kept saying to me, well, the book is all very well and good, but how do I apply it to my own business? Right. So the
That's what I was going
workbook
to say.
takes the chapters, it breaks it down, and it asks you questions, and it asks you to reflect on things, and ask yourself questions, and gives you quotes and things like that you can just really start to think and apply it to yourself straight away. So you could do one chapter, do the workbook, do another chapter, do the workbook, and that way you can really start to absorb what it is that you're reading or listening to if you get the audiobook. But you can really start to apply it to your own situation, and that's really where the gold is, because that's the result. That's what you want. You can't just read a book and absorb it and expect everything to change.
No, you got to go apply that thing, or at least apply it when you can. I mean, you can get it all. Even if I've listened to so many audiobooks, read so many books, the ones you apply, you take out. Sarah, you might take a nugget from Sarah now. You might take another narrative from Sarah's workbook later. It happens. How does one person take that workbook, that book, your service, and what kind of problems would they be having that all those could help? What kind of problems? Give me the top 5 problems in business, personality that you solve and how it makes them feel.
I think the main problem is doubt. Right.
Okay.
It's the overwhelm comes from doubt. You don't have overwhelm. You don't feel overwhelmed if you not. Let's start that again. You only feel overwhelmed when you are questioning who you are. You're questioning whether you're good enough. You're questioning everything, and you're not getting good enough answers.
Oh, I like that. Not
It's
getting
the
enough,
same with
enough answers.
somebody if they're looking for advice. Really deep down what it is that you want to hear. So you just keep asking people until they say what it is that you're wanting to hear. And then that's really great advice, that. Well, of course it is. It's because it's what you want.
Right. Right. Absolutely right. Yeah.
So when you don't question yourself anymore, that's when overwhelm stops. All right, you could get overwhelmed by the volume of stuff that you have to do, and that's when deciding what it is that you want to let go of comes in.
Nice.
It's not about stopping doing everything and how you must stop doing everything yourself, but it's knowing what you want to get rid of. So it's just start doing what you want. It's not
Yes.
stopping doing it all, really. It's about starting doing what you want.
That's a better angle, actually.
And just let somebody else do the stuff that you don't want to do. And it's, until you have that, until you get rid of all of that doubt, you cannot decide those things with any confidence. And then
True.
you start questioning what you've
100.
been doing to give people. You don't get the results back that you want. You feel like you could have done it better yourself. You feel like you're wasting all this money on other people. But when
Mhm.
you're really clear, okay, well, I'm going to pay this person to do this job, and I can afford to lose this money if they don't do a good job. And if they don't, I will have learned something. Maybe
Absolutely. Yep.
it was the explanation I gave, but it will teach me something.
Yes.
you know?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and then if you, guys, if you're watching this on a replay, you're watching this on a clip, or you might be watching on a call to action on a playlist. If you're doubting yourself and you want to get to a point where you're confident, this is what Sarah does. If you're feeling the overwhelm in certain things and you want to have a direction into what you can outsource, even if you have a little bit of money, at least you can point it in the direction so you can take that bottleneck off your plate, right? If you're feeling a little bit anxiety of it, this might be too much. Grab the book, keep it on your bookshelf as a reference, because this way you can use the book and the workbook so that you can understand that you can get over this funk that you're in. You just have to put a little bit more work into yourself and your business. Because at the end of the day, we're all human. Business is supposed to, the course of business is not to make, let's say, money. You like to be confident. The thing is to free up your time so you can manage it the way you want to do and spend your time with the people that you want to spend. Like you said, do the things you want to do. And that's where I think so. That's going to be the perfect ending for that. Leave it like a cliffhanger, like come back next week, right? All right, guys. You got Sarah. In fact, next week's, I think so. We're going to go, just a preamble, how enthusiasm and the rules pertain to that game in business and personal life, right? I think so. That'd be good. Sarah, any words, guys, if you need to get that book, the point, stop doing it allbook.com. Reach out to Sarah. Sarah, any closing remarks?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for having me, Gordon. It's always a great time spending time with you. I don't think my brain works completely differently to yours, and sometimes I don't quite understand the questions. I hope
But you But you answer the questions great. I think so because I have so much information swirling in my head. I want to get it out to you. I know you can answer them, so I try to push it. But then, guys, who decided your
because we're totally different personalities, and but we're working towards the same goal. And this really is how collaboration and teamwork and outsourcing really works.
Perfect. Yep. Good scenario for that.
Gordon, you're great at doing video and clips and all that kind of stuff. I hate it. But you're really great at it. And I'm really great at strategy, and your brain works a bit too quick for that. So, like you said before, when we combine those skills, that's when magic happens, because I'm not trying to do the things I hate, and neither are you. And if we can help each other along the way, great.
Well, it's perfect because strategizing is something I can do. It's not fun.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. I can do it because it's just part of the thing. It's just, there are certain things, like you said, that was a perfect scenario for the situation. Sarah want to strategize. I will implement. I'll do it. I've taught classes on it. It's just, I like to have more fun now. I think so. There's the different bucket that we said, the different box. Let me get that box. I'll put that box when I put that hat on. All right, guys. In fact, this is going to be up. I'm going to change these things around. It's going to be the Sarah and Gordon show from the Stop Doing It All podcast on what's the channel called? SJP, Sarah J. Pitts Development.
It's SJP
next week.
Development. Yeah.
Sarah, give them a way how to get in touch with you. Leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment. You can follow the YouTube channel, SJP Business Development. You can join us on Facebook. Yeah, you can get the book at stopdoingitallbook.com.
Beautiful. All right, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.